Now, I think recapping the Diddy video is going to be the primal focus, and then we will speak about the rest a bit later. And I think Tudri has mentioned the second scene of that very torturing video. But like, you see your phone, it pops up on your phone, Diddy, Cassie. You're like, oh, okay, is there something new on the case? Is there something new that has been revealed from the files? And then you actually see that, nope, it's CNN that has posted a video of Diddy and Cassie. And you're like, okay. Click. You begin to watch the video. What do you see? What did you see?
First of all, I just thought it was just a random, because you showed me the screenshot. I
Yes.
think it was the day of, you just showed me the screenshot. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And then when I got home, I actually clicked on it by accident. And it just shows Cassie, you know, running away from the hotel room, shoes in hand, bag in hand, presses on the elevator, tries to put on her shoes. And as she's doing all of this, you can see now another clip. You can see Diddy exiting the hotel room, towel in hand, rushing down the hallway towards her, shouting her name. And it just felt like it was playing out in slow motion. You can see her fumbling, and you can see him approaching. The elevator doors are not opening, and just like, can they just open so she can get away? And then he starts the kicking and the beating, and then dragging her down that hallway, sitting there and mocking her. It was the scariest thing I have ever seen.
The thing that stood out to me the most, or the things that stood out to me the most, were I think about three things. Number one, Cassie was in a hoodie and like what looked like, was it tights or jeans or pants? Like she was in absolute casual wear, right? But this girl, you know, when you think about a horror movie and you see the man running towards you and you're trying to run away from the scene, and you grab whatever you can grab really quickly so you can get out of there really quickly before they spot you. That's what I imagined Cassie was going through. When you're so scared, you have no time to wear shoes. Utaenda kuvalia uko nje. When you're so scared, you have like a tiny little bag, because that's the easiest thing you can grab and go. That stood out to me. The second thing that stood out to me was the fact that he punched her the first time, she fell down cold. Like she was down cold. She didn't even try to fight or anything. She was down cold. But he was not over it. He just grabbed her things and then started beating her, like kicking her when she is down cold. Like this girl had no movement. She was on the floor. He was just kicking her, right? Continues to kick her. Then grabs her and starts dragging her back. The other shot is when they actually get into, I think, somewhere, and they sat. And Cassie was like on the other side, hidden, I think, in the wall. He grabbed what looked like a vase and threw it at her. You're like, so you're not satisfied with the first beating. Now you're going to make this even worse. Grabbed this vase and threw it at her. But the most tragic thing is apparently this beating had been going on for a while. Like before, the allegations are that he was beating her the whole night. That's part of the people being dangled from the 16th floor. When everybody left and he was left together, now she was trying to run away. Like this story, and then she says this is not the first, the second, the third, or the fourth time, according to the allegations on the article. Additionally, the video that surfaced again of her hiding under a blanket, do you remember that video? Her hiding under the blanket as he's mocking and jeering at her. That video disturbed me. And then the other stories of apparently the soliciting him, as just like this girl was with this man for a decade plus. I'm just like, how is it possible? She was 19. She was 19. So basically he groomed her at 19, put her career right in front of her like this, like a dangling carrot. And then eventually just was done with her and she had to run away from this relationship. This is so disturbing. And the reality of matters is people are probably going through way worse, but no one talks about it. Have you ever met someone who's going through a situation and you're like, babe, you need to leave, but they just do not leave?
Yeah, and sometimes when you're you know, the third party looking in, you have all of these solutions for them. You have all of this, you need to get out, you need to get out now. And sometimes you become frustrated because the person you're telling to leave, the person you're telling, hey, this is not a good environment for you, doesn't seem to see it or doesn't feel the urgency to leave them. But then you forget that by the time it's gotten to this point, by the time where everybody knows what's going on, but they can't seem to get out, it's also mental abuse at the same time. They've just been conditioned to a place of, you're never leaving, nobody can ever help you, there's no better situation than this, I am your savior, of course I'm going to do this from time to time, but I am the best person. They've been broken down mentally, and then now it's physical, you know, abuse. And it's frustrating. You're like, why don't you leave? Why are you always being beaten every day? It's normal that you're going to be frustrated, but until this person has the courage and the resources to get out of that situation, unfortunately, they won't.
And the apologies are usually so big and grand. I remember one time when Cassie left, there was he went online and posted a story and said, anybody who sees Cassie, to play her this song. And it was a Michael Jackson song. I think it was one of those where it's like, I will always love you or miss you, something like that. It was always, I will always be with you, or I will always love you. One of those. And back then, you would look at it like, oh, he wants his girl back so hard that he's dedicating this song through literally proxies. But now when you think about it, you're like, oh my God, it's a threat. Like, someone will apologize in such a big way that no one else is realizing the damage that has been done. Everyone else is looking at, look at this big grand gesture. Yes, he beat you up and he did all these things, but didn't he buy you a house? Didn't he buy you a car? Didn't he pay your school? So I honestly feel like before you judge anyone and before you're quick to cast a stone, remember, it has been normalized in their minds so much. The brainwash has gotten so deep, it will take many attempts to leave. However, Daniela Atim, Jose Chameleon's estranged wife, had a few notes on how exactly 5 tips that should help you deal with emotional resurfacing when someone has been feeling overwhelmed from that, or when you've been triggered from an emotionally, domestically abusive relationship. And one of those, she said, was get off these social media apps, give yourself grace to breathe. It's okay to take a break, especially from all the ignorant commentary. So that was a big one. And I think, honestly, yeah, that's a really big one. Oftentimes when you get on social media and you're going through something, it's like social media, the algorithm is just trying to reinforce that message. When you're feeling sad and blue, everything you will see that day is sad and blue. Mostly because of confirmation bias, let's not forget. But at the same time, it feels like the algorithm is working against you. So if you are going through a triggering time, I think it's important for you to just stay off the apps, try and find some R&R for yourself with something else.
And a huge part of dealing with such triggers sometimes is just self-care. You know, remind yourself that you're in a safe space, you are loved, you are cared for, you are safe. So put on your nice dress, you know, maybe after you've gotten off social media, take a road trip, go and relax somewhere. And she even says that for her personally, she took a long 5-hour drive to the border of Canada, you know, with a lot of pit stops. Just go on a road trip with your friends, then went on to a Remy Ma concert later on, just to take your mind off of things. But a huge part is self-care.
Absolutely.
Take a shower, go get your hair did, go get your nails did. If it's finances are not good at the moment, sometimes self-care can be done at home. You know, kick out those children, go and visit somebody. You just have the house to yourself, relax, be in a safe environment, and that's just it.
Another interesting thing that you always need to remember is that the reason why it affects you so much is because your inner child feels threatened. And when your inner child is going through the turmoil of, am I going to ever get out of this situation? Am I going to ever be in a position where I feel safe? Am I safe? And that constant reminder, whenever something horrible happens, like your inner child is getting more and more afraid. So it's important for you to just, your inner child is that inner voice. You know, it sounds like a very broken version of you. Like, what? this is hard. You know, that is your inner child. That sound of consciousness at the back of your mind whenever you're quiet on your own, for me, that's my inner child. So it's important for you to just give comfort to yourself. Self-soothing is a very, very important thing. If you can, whenever that voice goes, this is scary. I feel sad, I feel alone, I feel broken. Just voice that voice back and tell it, you're okay, you're safe, you're okay now. No one can hurt you, I've got you. I'll take care of you. I will be your friend. I will be your comfort, and I will never put you in that situation again. And oftentimes you see this reflected in many ways where people actually do affirmations. You go in front of a mirror and you actually talk to yourself. You know, you like actually have a conversation with yourself, and it looks hella crazy. Talk to yourself. Whenever you catch yourself being negative and scared, just return that voice back by telling it, no, you're not scared. You're an adult now. You can take care of yourself. You have your own money. Even if you don't, you can do something that can help you out of the situation. And try and encourage this inner child until it gets to a point where your inner child and your adult version that has gotten out of that situation are merged.
Yeah, and also allow yourself to have a petty moment, because sometimes we really focus on rising above, being the positive person, being the bigger person, but you know, allow yourself that petty moment where you just mumble cuss words at your abuser. You know, remind them that you have your power, not directly message them and say, hi, just a reminder, you're a bastard. No, don't do that. Just cuss words at you as we're affirming ourselves and saying, I am strong, I am safe, I am protected, I am powerful. As you're affirming yourself, you know, in the midst, just throw in, he's a bastard, he's a fool, he has no power over me. Just small cuss words. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel like, they're occupying so much space in my head. Allow yourself to cuss at them.
And I remember watching this video of Kit Carey and Patricia Kihoro, and she was reading, it was that series where she used to have people read their diaries and their journals from the time they were younger. And Patricia Kihoro was reading, I think, a journal when she was like maybe a teenager. And she was really, really into this guy, but the guy had wanted nothing to do with her. And so it became one of those very unrequited love type situations, and it really, really bothered her. And as she was reading it, you could really see her going back into that headspace of like, damn, this was hard. I remember this one time he did. I remember this one time I did. I remember. It is very important for you to journal. Whenever you write down these difficult times, whenever you're writing down what you're feeling at that exact time, and you look back upon it, you realize the growth, first of all, how far you've come. Number two, you realize the patterns. You're like, am I in the same situation now? And that can help you get out of it. And most importantly, you remind yourself never to go back to such a situation.
True.
And that's why journaling is important. And I think as we wind up, another very important one is, I know it's very common for people like, if you were in such a bad situation, why did you stay that long? If you were why did you stay that long? Now, people like that who give that messaging to you can make you feel inferior and make you feel like there's a level of it that can bother you, so stay away from such people. These are the 5 tips that we got from Daniela at Tim.